Okay. For those who are watching from home and those here in attendance, we're going to, before we start our meeting, have the swearing in of our newest council member, Elizabeth Baker. Judge Gary Humble is going to do the honors, so I'll let you guys proceed.
If you would come up here, please. You would hold the Bible and place your right hand on the left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Maybe y'all could switch. Thank you.
I'm left-handed.
Anyway, if you would just repeat after me, please. This is your oath of office. I state your name.
I, Elizabeth Baker,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Tennessee,
the Constitution of the State of Tennessee,
and the Charter
and the Charter
and ordinances
and ordinances
of the town of Signal Mountain,
of the town of Signal Mountain,
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
And I will faithfully
And I will faithfully
discharge the duties of my office.
discharge the duties of my office.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You're sworn in.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is for you.
Thank you.
All right. Wait till she gets seated, and then we will start the meeting. There we go. Thanks, Sam. All right, so this will officially start the town council meeting for Signal Mountain for September 27th, 2021. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll have a short invocation, a moment of silence, and then we'll call roll. Okay. So, Sam, I guess we'll be calling roll again before you do that. Welcome to the Town Council, Elizabeth Baker, officially.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you may start the roll call.
Vice Mayor Susanna Murdoch,
Here.
Councilmember Vicki Anderson,
Here.
Councilmember Andrew Gardner, here. Councilmember Elizabeth Baker,
Here.
Mayor Charles Potts.
Here. The first item is the approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any, we have a motion, I guess, to approve the minutes? Anybody have any changes to suggest?
I didn't see anything. I'll move to approve.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Nay, okay.
I don't know if we need to say just for the record that those are the August 18th minutes.
Sure, sorry about that. These are the August 18th, 2021 minutes we just approved. We have now the citizens' opportunity to address the council. Does anyone wish to address the council? All right, Mr. Graham, state your name and address.
My name is Dick Graham. I live 405 James Boulevard, and I'm the president of the SMEPF, managing the MAC. And I just wanted to give a short report today on what's been happening.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
we won't go through that line by line. But free to look over later. What's in there, just so everybody will know, you have the calendar of events for October, just showing what's taking place. Some of the flyers for some of the programs beyond just regular music and art classes. You have the contract for floor maintenance services. You have some items that we have paid for the electrical work over there. And you should also have a quote from Glass Guru for glass repair in some of the windows. Just wanted to go over some of the things happening there so everybody's familiar with it, and hopefully some of the people here or listening on the YouTube will want to come down and participate. Every Sunday night, we have a free music concert. One is open mic night, and you don't have to be able to play. Come down and listen. It's some really great music. We've got some very talented people up here on the mountain, and we draw people from the region too. We've had people as far away as Ringo come up and play. So that's on one Sunday night, and then every other Sunday night that we're not having that, we have the Rock and Blues Jam. We just had one last night, really good. There was a lady that showed up from Nashville, and excellent singer, just really tore the place up. It was great. We didn't expect her to be there. She just showed up. She had heard about it and came on by, so that was really good. The quote you have in there from Glass Guru is to repair broken windows in all the classrooms with metal window frames. We had quite a few, and our board has voted to do it room by room as we have the funds to do that. So the first one we're starting in is room 5. That's the gallery. And they came a couple of weeks ago and got started and didn't come back. And so Cheryl texted them yesterday and said, "Did we scare you off? Was this more than you anticipated?" And they said, no. As we all know, everything is in short supply right now. They had no glass to put in there. So they're actually supposed to be back, I think it's tomorrow or Wednesday, and do some more of that work. The floor refinishing contract, that's for all the tile floors that we had refinished in late April, early May, I forget which one it was. That was about $6,500 to do all that work. This will keep the floors in good condition and hopefully not have to do that again. And it's a series of different maintenance processes that go through during the year. One is a major stripping once a year and putting the finish back on. So that'll be taken care of. We installed a new dishwasher in the cafeteria, and that was donated by the Lions Club. The money for that was donated about a year ago, and just had no need for it, so we finally got it installed. Room 8, Cheryl and Ryan Walker have been working on that for probably 5 or 6 weeks, and it is almost finished. It's really needed because on some days we're so crowded there with students and teachers that we're having to move pianos into the ballet room and do things like that to have enough space. So when that's finished, that's going to ease up the crowding a bit. We do have a lot of requests for piano lessons recently, and we just don't have the space and we don't have the teachers. So there is the possibility that somewhere down the road, maybe sooner than we think, we may divide 1 or 2 classrooms up into 2 rooms and give us more space for lessons. That's going to be a bit pricey though, because we have to build the walls, we have to redo some of the sprinklers, lighting, and more HVAC in the new room we create. So that's kind of pricey, but it's coming down the road. The cafeteria, we're now moving on to that, when room 8 is finished, get a new paint job, a new ceiling in there, some new lighting, make it look a little bit more presentable for people who might lease it. Room 6 is rented now to an artist that moved into town about 6 months ago, and she's using that space. Landscaping work is continuing, and that's Art and Ann Haygood, who are sitting here. They were working today on it. A lot of landscaping to do, but they're doing a fantastic job, and so they're continuing to work on that. We have a play going on right now, not at the moment, but this week. The last 2 performances will be this coming weekend on Saturday at 7:30 and Sunday afternoon. I think it's 2 o'clock when it is. And it's love letters, and it's really, they've done such a good job. It's Dennis Parker is the one who initiated this, and he's starting a new theater group, which will be based at the MAC. Only 2 characters in the play, but it is really tremendous. And if any of y'all can come down and see it, that'd be great. We did extend to some of the town employees. We were starting with fire and police. We told them they can come down and watch it for free. We'd like to give a little something else to the town employees. We have town employees down there helping us out sometimes. We'd like them to come down and participate in the good things as well as the heavy lifting work that goes on. So hopefully we're going to be rotating that each time we have an event to a different group of town employees. We'd love for them to come down, not forcing them to, but we'd like for them to come down and join in the activities down there. In November, we have 2 concerts coming up, the Briars and the Blues Machine, and the Holiday Market, we hope. That's going a little bit slow right now, but we're hopeful we're going to get enough vendors for that. Some vendors are still a little bit worried about groups and COVID and all of that, so, but it looks like we're going to have enough. We'll make a decision on that in the next week or so. Oh, this one, let me get these out of the way first. We did hire 1 part-time employee, and that's working out really well. We're getting a lot more accomplished during the day than we were otherwise. And we also looked at volunteer hours for this first quarter of the fiscal year for July, August, and September. And if you take all those hours and extend this over the year, and I think this was a pretty typical 3-month period, then the value of those volunteer hours at $20 an hour is about $168,000. So that's benefit being put back into the programs and into the building to benefit everyone in town. And this one, we'd just like you all to think about this. We have a lot of activities going on. Bachman does, McCoy Farms does, Lone Oak does, and we do a lot of talk about the mountaintop community. So we would like to work with someone in the town, in the town government here, I don't know who you all might choose or Boyd might choose, but to put some thought into getting at least a once a month or maybe twice a month newsletter out that has all the activities, the churches, the schools, everything. Because we don't all know what's going on. I know there are people that might enjoy coming down to the MAC to see the play love letters, and they'll find out about it in a couple of weeks when somebody's talking about it, and they will have totally missed it. There may be something going on at McCoy Farms or Bachman that we don't know about that we'd love to go to, but we just don't see it. And I know a lot of this stuff is on Facebook, but everything's on Facebook. You know, it might show up at the top of what you're looking at, and it might not. And unless you're spending hours scrolling down through all that, you're never going to see it. So if y'all could give some thought to that and possibly come up with someone who we could bounce some ideas off of, and then maybe come back to the council with a recommendation of how this might work. So that's our MAC update. Any questions, be glad to answer anything you got.
I understand there was an issue with the irises, and I don't know if that's been taken care of, or.
I think they got it
y'all are
sorted
dealing with
out.
that? They do, okay.
I'll tell you what I know about that. I haven't been directly involved, but I've heard some of the discussion. I think there was a big misunderstanding. We had, or by we, I mean some folks volunteering around the MAC and some garden club members and others had been told by some people that knew the folks in the Iris Society that they were disbanding and they were just not capable of maintaining that Iris bed anymore. And it has not been maintained as well as it should. We actually had a volunteer at the MAC that went out and was doing some work on it, trying to weed it and all of that. So somehow, I don't know how it came about, someone in the Iris Society felt that we were telling them to take all their irises away, and we never said that. So one day this week, was it this week or last week? No, this is just Monday. So it was last week. I look out the window and they're digging all the iris up and taking them away. So Anne probably knows more about this, but she came over and talked with them and explained we're not telling them to move them and take them out, but they had already taken most of them, and they have left some of them that we're going to use in landscaping around. But it was a misunderstanding, I think, primarily. We just wanted the beds maintained.
Okay.
That was it. So.
All right. Anybody else have any questions?
That's it? Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
That was kind of a, next time we have that, we'll put it in a real agenda item. But thank you for the presentation where it was. Ann, you're about to stand up for more citizens' opportunity to address council.
Ann Haygood, 506 James Boulevard. I just wanted to thank the Iris Society publicly for the many years of beautiful irises they've had at the MAC, and for their generosity in leaving quite a few for us to use in the rest of our landscaping. They've been really nice about it.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. On to the resolutions. First resolution is a resolution authorizing the Chief of Police to accept a grant from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office in an amount of $15,000, which will result in payment for equipment and overtime to be provided as a highway traffic safety grant for law enforcement activities to reduce speeding, aggressive driving, driving under the influence, and non-seatbelt usage for children and passengers within motor vehicles in the town. We have a motion on this?
Motion to approve.
We have a
Second.
Seems fairly self-explanatory. Does anybody have any questions or need any explanation?
This just tell you, this is one that we have done for probably going on 15 years, if not longer. One of the questions that is often associated with it is the equipment. Sometimes it's radar units, sometimes it's speed signs. This time we'll be purchasing light packages to equip newer police vehicles when we get them.
Light packages?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Nope. This passes. The next resolution is a resolution authorizing the fire chief to accept a fire prevention and safety grant through the Federal Emergency Management Agency's Fire Prevention and Safety Grant Program. So,
Motion to approve.
we have a second?
Second.
So, any discussion needed? We're requiring him to accept a grant. Must accept a grant.
Self-explanatory.
If you can just give a little background on it.
Sure. This is one that was actually, the application was previously authorized. This will pay for a fire extinguisher simulator that we can use for training and primarily for citizens. And as we approach Fire Prevention Week, events such as that, this will allow us to use for that. It'll also pay for the training for the instructors, and then backfill pay when we have people doing the training. It'll cover the cost of people filling in their shift. So it pretty much covers the whole program.
All right, sounds good. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. And the last resolution, a resolution accepting the TDOT proposal for the State Route 8 construction project and authorizing the mayor to sign the proposal document for the town of Signal Mountain. You have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Any-
Second.
Okay. We've talked about this quite a bit. I read through the, I guess, a proposal or contract. Harry, I assume you've looked at it?
I have, yes.
Do you have any issues with it?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do we need any, I mean, we've talked about this a lot, but does anybody have any questions or need any further explanation about it? This is the one where they have reduced the overall amount of land, even though it was small to begin with, that they're going to take. All right, if no discussion, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed? No. All right, that passes. All right, moving right along. We have an ordinance amending section 18-808 of the town code to establish new fees for the town of Signal Mountain stormwater utility. This is the second reading. You have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
1 second.
Second?
All right. Anybody have any questions? Any discussion about it? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, this passes. All right, so there's two items for discussion. One is masking town public spaces, or masking in town public spaces. We're all masked up here. Good work, people. I think COVID numbers are getting better until the next surge. But does anybody have any concerns that still linger where anybody feels we should continue to require the masks in the public spaces? I'll start with Boyd. I don't know how you feel about it.
I think at this point, we're comfortable where we are and like to continue
Okay,
for the time being.
all right. Anybody have any objection to the town continuing the mask policy within the town buildings?
No.
All right. All right, we'll continue that. Again, I think it's a good idea for us to kind of bring it up every couple of weeks when we have a meeting. I know that if our numbers continue to drop or stabilize, we might be in a position where we can do something a little different, but for now, we'll keep it as it is. And I would thank, I don't know where the camera is, but thank everybody here and at home who visits town's buildings for wearing your masks and doing what we ask you to do. It's going to help us all move on, and maybe one day nobody will ever have to wear masks and we'll be able to go do all the things we used to do. So now, and thank the employees too, because I guess you guys have to wear the masks all the time while you're in the public building. So I guess
Yeah.
most thanks should go to all the employees who have to do that all the time. All right, so next is a discussion about the updated water policy. We have, I guess, the new and the old version, and Adam is here. Is this something you want to tell us about, or Boyd?
This really is, as you'll see, the prior policy was, what we've been working off of is from 2011. There wasn't a whole lot of change for quite a few years, but recently we have made significant changes in rate structure and such as that. A lot of it is really kind of reorganizing it so that it makes a little more sense. So that made it difficult to do a red line version, so we just put the old and the new in here. But
Can you,
really, it's just updating to policies and practices that have evolved, and the written policy hasn't caught up with it. So,
Can you maybe highlight some of the, or give us some of the highlights of the changes?
sure. And I will
Obviously, you don't have to go
look
through everything, but
to Adam to help me with that. One of the biggest one, obviously, is the rate chart. If you'll refer back to the old one, you can see the complexity of how it used to be structured, and that was one of the biggest advantages with our changes to how we do it. Is it is far simpler for folks to understand and for our staff to manage.
and when you say changes in how we do it, are you talking about like what are you talking about, just to be clear?
Along with the recommendation for the increases in the rates was a simplification of the rate structure, where we didn't have minimums for up to so many gallons and all of that. Now we have a simple monthly service fee that everybody pays, and then you pay for the water you use. So there's much more straightforward.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that helped with some folks, small households, elderly single person households actually saw a decrease in their rates because they didn't have that minimum they were going to pay regardless. So there's another advantage to that. Some of if you look at the payment options, incorporating the ACH authorizations and everything into that section, the disconnection in the old policy, we had two different sections that talked about disconnection, and one was if you needed to terminate your service. The other was if you didn't pay us and we came and cut your water off, and the same term was used for both. So we changed that so it was more clear what was being addressed in each of those. We did some changes to the leak adjustment. In the old one, it had the calculations and actually stated the rate at which water would be charged. The way that works is if you have a leak and it's hidden and it's discovered, then you can request an adjustment, and we look at your history and get the usage from that same period for previous year. Then the excess we charge just at what we pay for the water plus the cost of electricity. Basically, we charge what it costs us to deliver it. That's been the policy for as long as I can ever remember. In the old policy, it actually had a rate per gallon that it would be charged, and that was seldom updated. So we simply put in the way in which it would be calculated. An operational policy will be that anytime we have a rate increase from Tennessee American, or at least annually, we'll go back and look at electrical costs, cost of the water, and make sure that that's updated regularly. And then when we do that, we won't have to go back and update this policy every time, because it simply states the method at which it'll be calculated.
All right.
The new water mains, the last section was updated some to clarify that it also applies to developers in the town. We have had situations where large parcels are subdivided, and at the time they were a single parcel, we had water service there. So we had met our obligation to provide water. Once they're subdivided, property owners or developers then have to extend the water line. So we made some clarifications there. So it's largely updating policies and processes that have been previously approved by council, but have not been incorporated into the policies that are shared with customers. So we wanted to get it to you for review and discussion, and if there are no objections, then we can have a resolution at the next meeting to adopt them as formal policies for customers of the water department.
Okay. I do appreciate your efforts and Adam's efforts in trying to streamline things, making it easier to implement, and saving citizens some money along the way with the changes in the water, how it's calculated. So I appreciate that. I think everybody would appreciate that. Making things easier for the citizens to understand. Does anybody have any questions or comments? We can still talk about it next time, even if it's a resolution, but do you have any questions now that you can think of about this? Okay. Do we have, I guess we don't need a motion to put this on the agenda. We'll have a resolution if everybody agrees. Unless anybody objects, we'll have a resolution to update the water policy at the next meeting, and we can have further discussion if needed then.
Sounds good.
Everybody approve?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we are moving right along. We're all the way to the manager's report, and we'll have Boyd take it from here.
All right. I want to let you guys know that last week I did meet with Hannah Rogers with MTAS and discussed the MTAS departmental reviews. She plans to come to the next meeting, October 11th, to discuss the process and get input from council. We thought it'd be good to let you guys know in advance that she'll be here, so you can have any questions or anything like that ready for that. And once we do that and everybody's clear on the process and what's to come of it, then she can start scheduling that.
Sounds good.
Last week in the WWTA board meeting, we authorized significant engineering contracts for rehabilitation alternative study, as well as wet weather relief project. And there's also major focus on the treatment plant down on Suck Creek Road. I think right now, the portion of their system, our system, that's on Signal Mountain is getting more attention, and there's more movement towards improvement and rehabilitation than certainly I've ever seen. So it's very exciting that it's really kind of come to the forefront of the major projects that are moving. So I want to let you know that. We do still have the request for them, the director to come, or perhaps the chairman to come with an update. We are still anticipating very quickly that the consent decree will be finalized, and I think that would be the timing where they can really provide some information on what the future will hold. If you would like them to come ahead of that, we can do that, but it's one reason kind of waiting on that, so I want to be sure and give you an update on what I could with the system.
It seems like the consent decree has been talked about for years. I mean, I've only been on for not even a year, but it I don't know that it'll ever get finalized.
Oh, I can assure you it will.
But rather than waiting it out, it'd probably be better to have him come and, if the consent decree gets finalized, maybe he can come again. But,
Okay.
if we wait till the consent decree is finalized, it might be another year
Can
before we hear from him.
go ahead and schedule that then. Also on September 14th, I was invited to attend a press conference for the Tennessee River Gorge Trust, where they announced the acquisition of 32-acre tract, which is Edwards Point. The vast majority of folks thought that was part of Prentice Cooper and it was protected, and it in fact has never been. It's been private property up until now. So they did acquire that, and it is now protected. That being the case, that being the draw to that area, and since it is now protected, the trust is interested in working with us to some degree to see how we can affect better access, including trailheads, parking areas, things like that, that might ultimately help us take some pressure off our areas. So we're very excited about that, and I'll be working with Rick on that to just start discussion, talking about ideas and how we might work together to make the scenario best for the citizens and maybe relieve some of our issues at the same time.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And also, it's not my report, but I've asked Loretta to come to give us an update on the Old Town Sidewalk project, and we will be contacting the engineers and ask them to come with their update in the next meeting too.
Okay.
Great.
I had a question. So before you get started,
Okay.
I had a question about the Rainbow Lake. We had the charrettes. I think they're over. Hopefully somebody has tabulated the responses.
We had the survey,
Survey, right?
right? Did you get? We had the preliminary results, and then we asked him to leave it up for another couple of weeks, and we haven't gotten the full results from that, but we've asked about it. We've inquired about it last week.
We did get quite a few more responses after the initial report that he had sent us, so I'll follow up again to see if we can
And
get that
I think it may be, and I don't know, but I think it may be a matter of him trying to work on compressing, because literally the way the raw information comes out, for every question that somebody answers, that's a page.
Oh,
So you've got hundreds of pages and so I think he's working on trying to get that into a more manageable format.
Right. I think we had nearly 500 responses, and some of the questions being open-ended leads to a vast document. So
if you don't mind, maybe at the next meeting, he can come here or provide some sort of update for us, if he's not done, because there's too much work to do by then. At least he can tell us where he is and maybe give us a time frame on when he'll have some information for us. So,
Okay.
and yeah, that I spoke to Rick Huffines as well. He mentioned that they had land that they could use for parking to help with Rainbow Lake. So that is something that would be good to explore. All right, sorry
That's
to
okay.
make you wait. Feel free
So
to proceed.
the Old Town sidewalks, the engineer submitted plans, the preliminary engineering plans to TDOT on May 17th. They got a few comments back from the ADA section, but we're still waiting on comments back from all the other sections. We've met with the engineers and gone over a few issues in certain places, trying to figure out where we want to put the sidewalk, if there's some landscaping involved, or we had a drainage issue. So we've met and gone over those problems and gotten resolved what we're going to do in those areas. We're still waiting on the rest of the comments back from TDOT before they can, finalize the plans. I spoke with the engineer Friday, and they said they could come at the second meeting in October and give an update, and hopefully would have some more information from TDOT by then. He did send a request out for some updates last week, but have not heard back at this point.
All right. Is it in the hands of the engineer to correspond with TDOT and make them work harder to get us information, or is it, and is that our responsibility?
Well, we both do it.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, and of course, copy each other. If we have
Yeah.
a question or comment to TDOT, I can do that, and he can do that as well.
Okay.
So we both kind of handle that.
All right.
Just, well, if you don't mind, while we're on that subject, when I met with Hannah last week, it was right after we had an area city managers meeting that we do periodically. One of the main things that we discussed was these types of issues, and I think TASR is actually going to take up and look at this whole process, because everybody is in the same boat, and it is so cumbersome. And we talked about the other projects that we've had, the bridge project, other things that we've done, and the amount of time it takes us versus the state/federal funded project, and it's across the board. So it has reached that level that it looks like the state may actually look at themselves to see what might work in the future.
Yeah, because they've had it for 4 months at this point. I mean, it seems like they could
Right.
do
And
whatever they need to do.
it's just, and the thing is that it's federal monies, so the state's not all, just the state is not looking at it. We got the feds that have to review it then as well and give their sign off on everything. So it has to go through another process there. So it's the federal money projects that will just take a long time to get done.
Okay.
But we stay in contact with them, and I've been meeting with the engineer, like I said, and they're moving on with their design. But we do have to wait to get that next notice to proceed.
Okay. Thanks. Does anybody have any questions of Loretta while she's here?
I don't.
All right.
Thank you.
So October 25th, I guess, would be the second meeting of
Yes.
the month, and we can have the
I'm not
engineer
sure what
come
that
and.
date is, but yeah, he said the second meeting.
All right.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
when they're going to come and give us an update.
The engineer will be able to come and
The
give us an
engineer will.
update, so we're hoping
That's
we'll maybe
Right.
nudge TDOT to give us a little more
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
So,
We can all take turns. We can all email the TDOT rep. Just give us their name. I'll email them every day.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you. Thank you for all your work on that. All right. Was that it for the
Yes, sir.
manager's report? Okay. Does anybody have any questions of the town manager before we move on to communications and reports from the mayor and council and reports from committees and boards, which we'll combine? I'll start that in Dan's absence, now that we have Elizabeth Baker on the town council, we got to fill her calendar, get her working. One thing that I had taken on and haven't really been able to do at all is the TPO representative. Boyd has stepped in and gone to the TPO meetings, but I think if Elizabeth can do that, if she's willing to take on that role. And okay, does anybody have any questions or issues with that?
I think that sounds great.
Dan also, I checked with Boyd, he was the liaison for the personnel committee, which we've assigned to Andrew. But Andrew reserved the right to give that up if he wanted to, but I think we can leave that.
You can keep it.
So we also had the tree board and the
DRC.
DRC, thank you, the DRC. So we can assign Elizabeth to one or both of those if she would like.
I'd be thrilled to have either or both. I do wonder, maybe, I think it was requested that you sat on the tree board for
I
a bit,
did.
and I would be happy to respect that.
Okay, sure.
So I'd be happy to do the DRC
Okay.
as well.
So I guess we'll make it official. to make a motion to appoint Elizabeth Baker as the council liaison for the DRC. I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No? Okay. And then the tree board, can I make a motion to appoint me as the
I'll
liaison?
make a motion to appoint you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay. All right. And I don't know about the TPO. Do we need a motion to appoint Elizabeth to handle that, or is that just a volunteer? kind of thing?
TPO, we may need to actually do a resolution. I'll have to double check. on that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. That's,
Before we move on from that, I'm sorry, I just wanted to mention it before anyone forgot. There is actually a DRC meeting tomorrow night, I believe.
Okay.
In case you weren't aware of that, if you're able to attend.
And we will also need to be accepting applications for at least the Personnel Committee. Now that
Yes.
I'm no longer
Right,
on there.
that's right.
That's
And I'm
right.
not sure if there's any other openings on any of the other boards, but while we're advertising one opening, if there's more, we should advertise all of them.
yeah.
We have updated the post on the website with the personnel committee opening.
Okay. Do we put that on, all the social medias as well? The
Mm-hmm.
socials? The one social, I guess we have. All right. And we don't have, we never really resolved the issue of the MAC board that is empty. So at some point we need to either decide what we're going to do with that or fill it, or both. So maybe at our next meeting, we can have a discussion about what to do with the MAC board.
Yeah.
And then either start filling it or dissolving it if that's the will of the town council. Any other?
Did we post those positions? I don't recall.
For the MAC board?
What we ended up deciding.
I don't remember either. We haven't posted anything for the MAC opening, board opening.
I was thinking it was.
I thought we
I'll double
posted
check.
it, but I didn't know if anybody had ever responded. But I don't
I
remember.
don't think we've gotten anything, no.
That's the question, yeah.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any reports?
We had a library board meeting, and if you guys haven't been by the library, if you go in the back, the construction is moving along quite nicely. They've had a couple of places where they've had to add soil some of the dirt has not settled quite right. So they're doing that, and they've had a great circulation the last few months, even with the upswing in COVID. They've just doubled down and worked to make sure that people have access to what they need. They do have an air conditioning unit that is looking like it's going out, so they're working on figuring out what they're going to do and how they're going to move forward with that. So but that'll be something that they'll address in their budget later on. So
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other board updates?
Or if we went over this previously, but had a rec board meeting a couple weeks ago, it feels like. The main thing is that the new softball field's Mariana Driver up and running, look
Nice.
great. If you haven't been by there yet, it really looks pretty amazing. Great work by the team there to manage that project and get it done so that some folks can play here in the fall. And they were finalizing, and I'm sure it's already happened at this point, the sign off from the grant, I think, or something like that.
They
At
had
that
a
point in
meeting
time.
last Friday to look through everything. There's a very few things still on the punch list, but it is 99% there.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, did anybody go out there after the flood just to see how it looked? I didn't think about it, but.
I haven't, but I've heard that a few meetings ago, the rec board went and toured kind of the semi-finished product, and it wasn't maybe as bad as the recent rain, but it had rained a lot the past few days. We didn't go walking on it, but I stuck my toe in, various places, and what I've heard from some people that have played on it is it's night and day, drains like a dream.
Nice.
great.
The water all kind of, there's a giant underground system that handles that stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
There is one corner in Driver that we're investigating. It just kind of stays wet. We can't figure out why, but that's one of the things they're trying to put a final touch to, if it's a irrigation line or something like that, but they're working on that. It's a known. Other than that, it's amazing the difference from what would be a pond for a week. Water just goes right away.
Yeah.
Does exactly what it was designed to do. It's amazing.
That's good. Every time I see Jeb Barrett, he tells me how he doesn't want to be the basketball director, but he's going to do it again. He said he's going to do it again.
Why?
But
begun some
he said that
recruiting
he hadn't
efforts.
been contacted. Like, I thought that Jared had talked to him about trying to find somebody else to take over, but he says he hasn't been
That was a
contacted.
discussion item as well. You know, to be honest, the rec board is composed mostly of folks that are, kids are well out of the league, so there were no volunteers on the rec board.
Right.
And I suppose I would categorize it as, it was agreed it is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's going to be a bigger problem next year because
we
he
need
promised
to-
that this was going to be his last year.
Is that something we can help advertise or help Jeb get the word out?
We can see what we can do on that.
You know, if we can grab somebody who's got a kid just entering the league, you'll get a good 10 years out of them.
Right.
I think when you sign your kid up, you should be automatically put in a raffle.
Put in a raffle.
There you go. I like that.
Somebody's name's getting picked.
I think
in the
Jeb may
raffle.
need to be a little more forceful.
Yeah. Well, I've done my duty for him. I passed the word along. Okay. Any other reports or communications from anybody? All right. Any other business? Okay. Well, that's great. We have the tentative agenda for next time. And actually, do we have? Yeah. And we will adjourn. Thank you.